I'm Nathan. This is the At Odd Show. Please listen.
Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Shh, Nate. What? Be quiet.
Are you hunting rabbits?
No. NSA is listening. If we talk really quiet, maybe they can't hear us.
I hope the audience doesn't mind that we do the whole show like this.
They might be. Click, click, click. They're all changing channels, going back to whatever they go back to. We want to welcome people to At Odds for another enjoyable journey. I want you to join your guides, Nate and Brian. I'm Brian.
And I'm Nate.
And today is June 20th, where we're broadcasting from the back room of the Stop and Frisk Bar and Studio in a small town in what country, Nate?
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan.
Officially became independent in 1991, not that long ago. It was formerly part of the Soviet Union.
Are you reading a script?
I am a geography expert on top of being a certified geologist.
Because I'm only asking because you're the one that berated me all day long that I'm too scripted.
No, I don't think I berated you.
And then all of a
on
sudden
being
you're
scripted.
prepared by having notes on the country we're in?
No.
That's a first.
I did not berate you on being scripted as far as having specific details. And I didn't berate you at all. Actually, you are the one that said, you know what? I'm terrible at everything. I'm just going to take a nap. And I said, no, please don't
I'm
nap.
going to go home and eat worms.
Please don't nap, Brian. Just don't do it. And here we are.
Wow. Anyways, today we'll be talking about some recent Supreme Court decisions and how they might affect us. And my favorite, how the man is keeping us down.
Uzbekistan.
I'm sorry,
Uzbekistan. You got to get the Stan out there. It's not Stan. I got a buddy named Stan. We don't call him Stan. Although maybe I should.
Yeah, I would.
Remember, we're a live call-in talk show. You can call us at 248-455-ODDS. That's 248-455-6337. Should we mention that our website was hacked by the NSA?
No.
Okay. And maybe that was why some people were having trouble getting through and listening to us.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to say it is. Not that we suck.
In all honesty, if recently you did a Google search or you clicked on a link, probably a link that we post on Facebook, and you were redirected to some non-English website and
pornography site, I don't know.
And it was much more interesting than our show.
And you stayed for 40, 45 minutes. We don't blame you.
We were hacked, but security team's on it. They've taken care of it, and we're all set now.
Our IT team is the best.
Yep. But I'll tell you, those liberals will get you every time.
Yeah, unfortunately, NSA is, well, they're not that great either.
No.
I want to remind you that the Nathan Nephew Show, my partner, has a show. He's gone off on his own and doing very well. You can listen to that on Spreaker.com and Red State Talk Radio. We're brought to you by Superior Talk Network. Superior Talk Network. And Nate and I are authors. God help us all. You know, Nate, we have a Library of Congress number. Our book is recorded with the Library of Congress. We are immortal as long as the Library of Congress exists. And it's my parents' open carry, Second Amendment kids book. Great book on not only open carry, but it talks about the Second Amendment, self-defense, good rules for gun handling, and it ends with a reward, a day in the life of Brenna and her parents who open carry. And that's it for sort of the housekeeping stuff. Let's get into the SCOTUS decision. That is the Supreme Court of the United States. That's an acronym.
Oh, boy.
In case you're wondering what SCOTUS means.
What's an acronym?
An acronym, Nate, is a shortening of a long list of words into just the letters of the first word of each word that's in the long list of words.
Okay, what did the Supreme Court of the United States of America have to say?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
All right. Well, they made a decision about the Fifth Amendment. The case revolves around a guy who was convicted in 1992, so it's quite a while ago.
Was John Roberts in on this decision?
Is he in the Supreme Court?
Oh, God help us.
Then
I
I'm
think so.
assuming he was, and this was a unanimous decision, I think. Anyways, oh no, it was not. Justice Breyer dissented. But anyways, no, it was 5-4. That's right. This was close. Anyways, this is important because it involves the Fifth Amendment, and I'm going to talk to it in a minute. Just shut up, Nate. Just stop laughing at me and look at the lava
There's
lamp.
only like 3 more combinations. If
I know.
You just go over them all.
I'll just go through them, and we'll
3 to
decide
6.
which one.
No.
It was 9 to
2 to 7.
It couldn't have been 9
1
to 1.
8,
No, because there's only 9 total.
9 to 0, 0 to 9. I don't remember. I don't even know who won.
What's the Supreme Court?
What's an acronym?
Anyways, this poor guy, I shouldn't say poor guy, he's a frickin' murderer, but the case revolved, I mean, he was, and you know, justice was served. The decision was bad, and I'll tell you why. He was brought in for questioning to, quote, clear his name. We just want to talk to you and take some pictures of you and ask you a few questions to clear your name of this murder. Apparently 2 brothers were shotgunned to death, and so he says, sure, I'll come in there. Ain't got nothing to hide. I'll talk to you guys.
No, neither does Lindsey Graham.
Which is the first thing you do, is you don't talk to the police. But on the other hand, they talked to him, and they didn't give him the Miranda because he was free to go. It was not an interrogation. They were just asking him some questions. And everything went well until they asked him, they said, you know, Mr. So-and-so, is the shotgun you have at home, will that match the shotgun shells we found at the murder scene? And all of a sudden, he kind of turned white and went silent.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you don't want to answer any more questions? And he just shook his head. No, I don't think I do. And what happened was they used the fact that he remained silent after that question in the trial that helped convict him. I'm sure there was other evidence, but that was brought up as a fact to show his guilt. Now, generally, we are innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to testify against yourself. And, you know, the Fifth Amendment protects against self-incrimination. But the Supreme Court said, no, if you're not under arrest and you haven't been Mirandized, if you stop answering questions after you've been answering questions, you know, that can be used against you. And that you have to invoke verbally your right to the Fifth Amendment. So I would recommend everyone, every half an hour maybe, to say, I invoke the Fifth Amendment.
Fifth Amendment.
As you go about your day. Your boss asks you a question, Fifth Amendment! What would you like to eat, sir? Thank you for coming to McDonald's. Fifth Amendment! Would you like a Big Mac or fries? Fifth Amendment!
Fries, though. But Fifth Amendment after that. Let's
So
see.
what do you think of that, Nate? I mean, boy, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know.
I think a person should be able to be
nor shall
silent.
be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, property without due process. I mean, so shall be compelled in any criminal case to be witness against himself. That's what the Fifth Amendment really says about.
Right. And I think SCOTUS was saying that basically what happens is you're not under arrest, so you can You can answer these questions. You don't have Fifth Amendment protection if you're just casually talking to the police, and then all of a sudden during questioning, if you decide to be quiet, all of a sudden that can be used against you. It doesn't quite make sense to me. I don't know why they...
It's interesting to me because you can't compel somebody to talk ever. I don't think you can do that.
And he wasn't being compelled.
But the fact that he stopped talking, I mean, why can't that be entered in as evidence? I mean, if... The other problem is there's humans, because even if somebody takes the stand and says, I'm not going to answer any questions, the jury sees that, and that affects their thought process.
I mean, that's the idea is, if you don't have anything to hide, you'd be willing to talk to the police.
Exactly.
And we hear that all the time.
That's why Lindsey Graham has such a great a good point about the NSA, that he has nothing to hide, so the NSA can listen to his phone calls. He has nothing to hide.
Anything he wants.
Because if you have nothing to hide, there's no reason not to disclose things. I think Barack Obama actually said the reason you don't tell stuff is because you have something to hide. I think that was Barack Obama. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. I can't get I don't have the reverb nor the
cadence and the
cadence. That was a good one. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyways, it says the Fifth Amendment claim fails because he did not expressly invoke the privilege against self-incrimination in response to the officer's questions, said Justice Alito. It has long been settled that the privilege generally is not self-executing and that a witness who desires its protection must claim it. Now,
do I have to invoke my Second Amendment rights?
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite... Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question because is it just in the Fifth or other questions? I mean, I had a friend on Facebook that said, I'm leaving my house now. I evoke the Third Amendment. I don't want to come back and see a bunch of soldiers in my house, which, I thought was hilarious.
But now you realize that it was actually a really good idea.
Well, he did it after this opinion. I mean, he was doing it to be sarcastic.
Well, I was going to say neither you or I are at home right now, but there might be soldiers quartered up in there now.
You don't know. Home. Well, I'm sure my wife loves a Navy man, so
too bad that
it's hard to say.
Mind. That was
what? Oh, don't say it.
What was that?
When she's good to the core, she's good to the core. Well, that's the Marine Corps. Anyways,
I don't think she cares.
The thing is, maybe we need to have a T-shirt or some kind of button on us all the time, or something that
with
says
all
the amendments, all of our rights. I claim the privilege of exercising all of my constitutional rights at all times.
Here's the
Beware.
thing, and this is something that I've mentioned a bunch of times. It's really troubling that we're now a nation of court decisions.
Yeah, that's scary. And we give a lot of power to 9 people.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And those 9 people are appointed by political people in power. Is it not
obvious?
So that's really bad.
That the rights outlined in the Bill of Rights are automatic. I mean, doesn't that seem obvious to you?
Right.
That they're written down all the automatic. Time. You don't have to turn them on and off.
It's like air. They're there all the time and being used.
And in fact, if you do become...
Wow, that's pretty good.
If you do decide to become a witness against yourself in a criminal case, you are not turning off the Fifth Amendment. I mean, the Fifth Amendment still applies. You still cannot be compelled to be a witness against yourself.
Right. But
if the Fifth Amendment's still there. Exactly. Yeah. It's not on or off. It's on.
Well, my point of being air... in the atmosphere, always there, omnipresent, everywhere, except, maybe in my bathroom after. Never mind. But
there's air there. It's just made up of methane.
Methane.
And
well, it's not
other things.
Necessarily air per se, but
well, what is air, Brian?
Air is a certain mixture of a certain percentage of certain elements.
Is it?
That's what air is.
Well, there's no air in here. I'll tell you that.
There's some hot air.
Some hot air. Lots and lots of hot air. Anyway, Supreme Court, you got it wrong again, but. What are you going to do? I don't know necessarily. I mean, the Fifth Amendment it's one of those things, right, that people just kind of used all willy-nilly.
Well, Well, we had a case earlier with the IRS lady,
Lois Lerner,
who talked and then said she's going to invoke it, and apparently there are technicalities on its invocation that you have to follow certain rules or you don't get the protection. Either you're protected about self-incrimination or you're not.
Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy. I read the wrong line. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be witness against himself.
Yeah. So when does that become empowered? When does that you have to say it now, and that's what the Supreme Court is saying. You have to assert it.
The thing with Lois Lerner, it was not a criminal case,
right?
So does it apply? But
I wouldn't say it does.
But I don't think you can ever compel somebody to talk.
I don't think you can either, and I think that's the issue. You shouldn't be forced to have to answer any questions anytime, anywhere, except maybe with private employers, because that's not the government.
Well, they can't force you.
No, they can't, but they can let you go. So
yeah, absolutely, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. But
so I think we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the second Supreme Court decision handed down, talking about voter ID.
248-455-ODDS, 248-455-6337.
You're listening to the At Odds Show with Nate and Brian.
The voice of American conservatism. WRS Digital, Red State Talk Radio.
Fact. U.S. credit card debt is 8 times larger than it was 30 years ago. No wonder you and I are feeling the credit card crunch. You're not alone. Increasing prices and the costs of credit are stretching budgets and preventing people just like us from getting ahead or just catching up with our debts. At American Financial Debt Relief, we can help. We have tested ways to help you get out of debt. Find out how now. The call is free to learn more. If you qualify, we can reduce your interest, show you how to stop your debt from getting larger, and help you get out of debt faster than you can by making minimum payments. So if you're falling behind on your credit cards or medical bills, give us a call right now, where a free 5-minute call can change your life.
800-978-4815. 800-978-4815. Reduce your credit card debt. Call now. 800-978-4815. 800-978-4815.
Real radio for real Americans.
Red State Talk Radio.
Veritech is a publicly traded company that has created the first biotech social network. Founded by Dr. Kevin Buckman, the company has built a unique platform that will allow biotech research to become open-sourced for the first time in history. Veritech is also co-developing a breath testing device that plugs into a cell phone for data transmission. The technology was originally designed by NASA, and Veritech is working on adapting the device to detect infectious diseases and cancer. Veritech's social network for cancer patients, www.cancer.im, provides a central location where those affected by the disease can seek alternative treatments, organize their records, and find support. A breakthrough company in the biotech industry, Veritech is publicly held, meaning anyone can become a shareholder of the company. The trading symbol is VIRA, spelled V-I-R-A. More information about Veritech is available via Yahoo Finance. Just type in the ticker symbol V-I-R-A.
I'm Nate, and that's Brian.
And that was Nate. Are we going to do that? We could do that for 10 minutes.
We could do that.
Let's not. The Supreme Court handed down another decision. There were 4 more today that we can talk about next week. But this one is on striking down Arizona's measure requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration. All right? You want to talk about that? I mean, they're saying you can't... The Arizona, the state, now that's important, the state, not the feds, the state cannot require proof of citizenship for voter registration, not for voting, but for registering to vote. So this is really not a voter ID decision. All right? In 2004, Arizona voters approved a referendum that had two major components, the voter ID for in-person voting and a requirement that anyone registering to vote provide proof of citizenship. This went before the Supreme Court, and it didn't strike down the provision that requires a photo ID for in-person voting. In other words, the state can require you to show a photo ID when you go to vote. It's just about registering to vote, because they say the feds occupy the field. There's already a federal law that has certain mandates that you have to meet in order to register, and the states can't add on to that, and that's what this decision was about, right?
Yeah, it's basically the same as the immigration law that Arizona created, and the argument of, well, the federal government isn't going to enforce this because the federal government, as it stands, would love to have illegals voting and illegals coming in.
Well, the current administration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
and it's the current administration is when this is happening.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, we can look at the evidence of some of these justices being coerced to vote one way or the other on things, but what's I think Arizona can still use their form. They just can't force people to use the Arizona form to register to vote. I think citizens can still choose to use the Arizona form, and
right, the
and
decision
be required
yeah,
to show ID.
Right, the decision said the state can require anything they want, basically.
Yep.
They're within their right to do that. They just can't modify and demand that the people register using the Arizona application. That if they want to use the motor voter law, which is a federal law that has a less, what do I want to say, less demanding...
Yeah, it's less stringent
requirement, that if someone registers through the Fed system, that Arizona has to accept that.
Yep.
But when they come to vote, Arizona is kind of free to do what they want, and it's up, to Arizona if they want to determine whether a person is a citizen or not. They can certainly do that. So, not as ominous as people are making it out to be.
Well, I don't know. I think it is. I think it's ominous differently than we hear a lot of conservative pundits making it out to be. Because, in my opinion, the states really should be able to decide who votes in their state.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe on state elections.
Look, because what are you voting? You're voting for people that are going to represent your state. They are several states.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, local elections, state elections. Maybe the state should have the power to do what they want.
But if you're voting for your your representative in your district, your federal
or your
representative,
senator, your president, maybe the feds should apply. I don't know.
What does the federal government? What business do they have saying who can vote for the person that's going to represent the state, as far as a congressman or a senator goes?
Yeah, but they deal with national issues as well. I mean, that's.
Well, of course they do,
that's
but
tricky.
Every time they deal with a national issue, they should be representing the state they're from. That's what they're put there for. And of course, the country as a whole. I mean, which better benefit the state. I mean, because it's not always what's good for the country is good for the state. That's not always the case.
No, that's true.
Representatives, for sure, a little different than senators, are put there to represent specific districts of people. And
that's true on national issues.
On every issue.
I don't know that they represent us on local and state issues.
No. Every issue that the federal government would deal with,
right? And they are there to protect the interests of the people in their districts from the federal government. Period.
Exactly right.
Right.
So why should the federal government be able to decide who gets to vote for those people that are there to represent the people, represent their interest on things from the federal government?
Well, I think you could have a real situation for abuse if you were to allow each state plenary, absolute power over deciding who can vote in your state for national elections, that could be kind of ugly.
Here's the problem. The problem is the federal government today would not mind that an illegal alien voted. They wouldn't mind because they're going to vote for who's in power now. And in fact, I think it probably happened, but who am I to say that?
Yeah.
The problem with this is the federal government is not really enforcing this law. It's illegal to vote if you're not a U.S. citizen.
That's true.
Who's enforcing
that?
By
federal law.
Who's enforcing that?
And the feds are supposed
it's
to be
illegal to
enforcing
come across the border
Right.
if you're not a U.S.
And
citizen.
that's a
Who's
federal
enforcing
issue.
that?
Yep.
The states tried to take care of that.
Right.
Because
And
there are federal laws that are not being enforced by the federal government.
Absolutely.
So the state said, what we'll do is
we'll
we'll
take care of it.
enforce the federal
Right.
law. And they're told, no.
Well, you can't do that. They could enforce state laws, and that's how they're trying to get around this. They're trying to create state laws.
But they can't have state laws.
So I don't know about that.
Well, they can, but which
don't know.
which illegal is going to use the Arizona form that requires a proof of citizenship?
None.
Exactly. And
Right.
do you think the federal government, in reality,
Right.
is going to do much about that? I mean, if they use the federal form, they're illegal. Of course you can vote. And, I mean, let's not forget
Right.
that on top of this, amnesty's coming.
So, well, yeah, I understand this situation, but let's look down the road when there may or may not be another political power or party in power, how they're going to feel about it. So maybe what we need to do is not deal with the states, but correct the federal laws that deal with this and tighten up and strengthen and require more documentation under the federal law.
Absolutely, but that's not happening. Look at the amendment that was proposed.
But it could be happening.
Look at the amendment that was proposed for the amnesty bill. Today there is a law in effect that says we will build 760 some miles of fencing at the U.S.-Mexico border. There's like 30 miles built. It's
you said
like 5%
we're almost
done.
We're almost done.
No. What I said...
Didn't Barack
Obama said it's basically done.
It's basically
what
done.
I said is it's basically not started.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like 5%
Winston
done.
Churchill, we're closer to the beginning. This is not the beginning, but it's the middle of the end of the beginning of the beginning of the end. Or something
Worse than that,
lines.
Barack Obama's a liar.
Yes. Worst president ever.
Churchill I could get along with, I think. There's nothing so exhilarating as to be shot at and missed, turns out. Churchill.
Did you? Well, we can get on Churchill. He was an interesting character. Do you know he was a prisoner of war and escaped from
like John McCain?
A train?
He didn't really escape.
No, he was on a train being shipped away to a prisoner of war camp or something and escaped from a moving train in a foreign country and managed to get back.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's
you no.
That's some
I
tough
will
guy.
not listen to what you had to say. Well, yeah, maybe I will. No, and now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
But
that's my best.
Oh
tactic
no!
With you.
What? My point was, you're saying let's fix the federal law. Sure.
Yeah.
There were amendments made to the amnesty bill that's in the Senate right now. Well, the amendment proposed was let's reinforce the federal law already on the books, and let's say, yeah, we're going to build this fence, and there was a lot of pushback on that.
I've been around for a few years, over a half a century. I've been in this country for over half a century. This is, I think, one of the...
You came from Uzbekistan, though, right?
Yeah, Uzbekistan.
Back when they were part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, do svidaniya, comrade. I like big, strong Russian woman, drink vodka, pull plow. Anyways, perhaps I've said too much. My point is, what has really happened with Congress in the last 5 years? What have they accomplished other than these affordable, unaffordable, unobtainable health care package? They're really getting nothing done, and this is something that they could get done. And you would think...
No, they couldn't.
Both parties would agree that we want citizens only to vote, but the people in power, I guess, don't want that.
Yeah, both parties definitely don't believe that. And they've gotten a lot done in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Exactly what they want to get done, which is nothing good and Obamacare. I mean, really, and I have a feeling that I have a feeling that amnesty is going to pass.
That's going to go through.
Because, the House might say no, Senate says yes, and then we compromise.
And I think that's it. I think people are just tired
of
talking about it, and they're going to say, Jesus, let's just get it done.
I don't know. In 2006, similar bill proposed, amnesty, huge pushback from the American people.
Yeah, but things are, 7 years later.
I know. I mean, it passed in 1986.
7? Did I do that right?
No, you did it right.
That was right,
man.
man.
It was pretty good, and it was quick, too.
As a geologist,
right there.
I need to drink more. Anyways, the problem is you get a lot of people that died out, the older generation, the baby boomers and the greatest generation, and you get a lot of these younger people who I can't even stand talking to because they are so... Oh, I've got nothing to hide. The government is there to protect me. I just want to be protected.
People in their mid-20s and things.
Yeah. Present company excluded.
Oh. All right. 248-455-ODDS. 248-455-6337. Give us a call if you want to be on the show.
And
we're live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Facebook.com/@ODDShow.
Maybe we'll come back with how the man's keeping us down. I don't know.
I like mashed potatoes and fried chickens. And Odd Show with Nate and Brian.
Red State Talk Radio.
The idea of government taking over healthcare is enough to make you sick.
The conservative voice.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. That's 1-800-257-2873.
Great shot, Bob. I think you're on.
I just followed your lead.
Hey, by the way, did you break ground on your new building?
No way. I'm holding off until I see what the future holds.
So you're seeing a fortune teller?
You know what I mean. Things look a little uncertain.
The only thing certain in business is if you're not growing, you're losing. And we just opened our 5th facility last week. If you're following my lead, you'll call General Steel. Their pre-engineered steel buildings could save you as much as half the cost compared to conventional buildings. And they're up in nearly half the time, and backed with a 50-year structural warranty.
Yeah, but steel buildings...
Hey, you've seen my building. Does it look like steel?
No, it looks great.
Ask about rebates that could save you up to $20,000. Look, you can stop paying rent and own a building that suits your business better and probably saves you money by operating more efficiently. In times like these, don't stop spending, just spend wisely.
800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309.
Red State Talk Radio.
Why spend more than you have to on your life insurance? Did you know that term life insurance rates have fallen over 60% in the last 15 years? At the Life Insurance Quote Line, we monitor the rates, features, and financial strength of hundreds of life insurance products. For example, a healthy 40-year-old can protect his family with $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $20 a month. Rates for women are even lower. And don't forget to ask us about the new term life policies that guarantee your money back even if you don't die. Since 1986, we've helped tens of thousands of people just like you save a fortune on their life insurance. Why not find out how much you can save? Write down this number and call today for your free quote. 1 5-minute call is all it takes. Call 800-610-3497. 800-610-3497. That's 800-610-3497. Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
And we're back. I'm Brian.
I'm Nate.
You're listening to At Odds. I guess I kind of, misspoke. I want to do a couple of things on gun stuff before we get into the man and how he keeps us down. I like this. In California, they passed a law that you can't have a 10-round magazine, and
oh, I like that too.
What? Anyways, I guess there's a company that's making 10-round magazines and more than 10 rounds, and they're calling them repair kits.
Like 11-round magazines?
11, 12, 150,000.
I have multiple 12-round magazines.
And they will send you disassembled magazines that you can put back together, but they advise that you shouldn't do that because it's against the law. These are repair kits. And they'll take these actual magazines that you can order, they'll disassemble them, and then sell them to you, which is perfectly legal.
It's brilliant.
And it says, they are not intended for reassembly into new high-capacity magazines, which would be a felony under California law.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
All of the head shops around Michigan that sell pipes and bongs and things.
Yeah.
Never been in one in my life for more than 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They have signs everywhere that say for tobacco use only.
Or art.
They're usually high, so they don't think of that. But I mean, here's a water bong. Here's a vaporizer. This is for tobacco use only.
Well, Tommy Chong's company was making certain bongs and stuff, and he was selling them as works of arts and not to be used to smoke marijuana.
Have you seen some of them?
I have not. But
I mean,
again, he was arrested by the feds.
They're pretty cool. I mean,
They're
I'm
beautiful.
I'm not into that stuff at all.
Mm-mm.
Never mind that on the shelf there.
That's a lava lamp. That's
It
not
actually is a lava lamp. I'm not into that at all. But I mean, some of the stuff does look pretty cool. I've been around people who are into it, and So.
I thought we weren't going to elaborate on your marijuana smoking exploits.
I've never done it.
Nor have I. It's against the law. Although
I did not inhale, as opposed to our current president.
I did inhale.
I inhaled. That was the point.
Yeah, and I did a little coke too.
Yeah, and I'm president. Woohoo!
Illinois.
And that's just how whitey will do you.
That's how the man will keep you down. The Illinois Attorney General has asked for another 30-day extension from the Supreme Court on their concealed carry law. And the reason, I think, and I'm not alone in this thought, was that this allows cities to pass ordinance against concealed carry. Because the bill says that if you have bills in place or ordinances about carrying guns in cities before the bill's passed, you're grandfathered in. What? You're going, ooh.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's exactly what it said. Certain parts of the laws can be grandfathered in. There was some semblance of preemption in the bill that I read, but
that's true.
It wasn't.
I think it was for concealed carry, so they really can't do that.
Yeah,
they could do it for open carry. They can do it for other things. Colorado, good news. They sent a strong message to anti-gun politicians. There were a couple of what do you call them? We're kicking you out of office type things. What's that word I'm searching for?
Threats?
No, not threats. When you recall or
recall. I think recall.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's
because that's not the right word.
It's recall.
Yeah, I think it's recall.
It was a couple of them have gone through, and they've got enough votes to recall a couple of legislators.
Isn't Colorado going to split up into North and South now?
I think so. I hope so. Remember, South Dakota is on the Canadian border.
You folks up there with the Canadian border, it's not the same. Like you guys in South Dakota,
right?
You're not the same.
You
don't know.
You just face Canada. You don't know what it's like.
Yeah, South Dakota.
Who said that?
I don't remember her name.
Some state representative.
But I'll tell you, it was an elected official,
and it was a Fed. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She thought South Dakota was on the Canadian border.
She was from a border state with the U.S.-Mexico border.
Uh-huh.
Her border is much worse than the border that South Dakota has with Canada.
Well, That just shows the ignorance of the elected officials.
Can they really be that stupid, Brian?
They can be.
Yes.
I didn't think they could be, but I'm learning over my half century of life that nothing surprises me anymore, and these representatives really are stupid. Which kind of ties into how the man can keep us down. I've got a few stories about how people create laws, that they can use and employ to suppress the population. And I think Ayn Rand said it best in Atlas Shrugs in a small paragraph or two that she wrote in Atlas Shrugged, where she talked to Hank Reardon was talking to a government official. And Hank was an entrepreneur, and he invented a new metal alloy that was like super duper fantastic. Everybody wanted it. I mean, it was the epitome of capitalism and research and putting his money into something and making something really neat. And that's what progresses us along. It's Reardon metal, and he sold some of it to a business associate against the federal law. The law says you can't sell this metal in any significant quantity without approval from the government. And so this is some dialogue between Dr. Ferris, who works for the government, who's really a jerk. He's referred to as a looter that sucks the power of the entrepreneur, and Mr. Reardon. And he's discussing and telling Mr. Reardon what is really happening.
Did you really think we want these laws to be observed? We want them broken. You'd better get it straight that it's not a bunch of Boy Scouts you're up against. Then you'll know that this is not the age for beautiful gestures. We're after power, and we mean it. You fellas were pikers, but we know the real trick, and you'd better get wise to it. There's no way to rule innocent men. The only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there aren't enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Who wants a nation of law-abiding citizen? What's there in that for anyone? But just pass the kind of laws that can neither be observed, nor enforced, nor objectively interpreted, and you create a nation of lawbreakers. And then you cash in on guilt. Now that's the system, Mr. Reardon. That's the game, and once you understand it, you'll be much easier to deal with.
And I think that's in a nutshell.
That was somebody that anonymous at a poetry reading here in town at the where are we?
Stop and
Frisk in
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. I love poetry night. It's my favorite night to be at any establishment.
The person that read that is a good-looking, smart guy. That's all I'm going to say about that. What? You're speechless?
I didn't know. I am speechless because I took you for an honest man. But I guess as humans, we assume.
We assume
and it
things.
Keeps our species going.
It does. Assumptions can save our ass, and they can burn our ass. This gets back to laws. Here's a law. A homeless man faces 90 days in jail for defacing the U.S. flag. Now, you and I may disagree on this. I think it's perfectly fine as a political statement and freedom of speech to burn the U.S. flag. And I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. I don't care. It's a symbol, and what better way to show your disapproval of your country than burning its symbol, right? You're not shooting anyone. You're not hurting anyone.
I'll admit that
you're burning something in effigy and making a statement.
I'll admit that defacing a flag is definitely a pretty straightforward way of showing your disapproval of the country.
And that's fine.
I think it's reprehensible.
No, I don't. I think it's fine.
I don't know. In fact, I
think
let me say that
you're
again.
An idiot.
I know.
You're an idiot.
I know, and you'll disagree with me.
I'm going to burn
here.
a flag right now.
You'll disagree with me here. I know that
So
we should never,
flag.
ever convict anybody of a crime just for the fact of defacing a flag.
Oh, I see where you're going there.
Where am I going
Your
there?
personal opinion is that one shouldn't do
Absolutely.
it but you would support their right to do it.
And I think on one of these shows I actually
you would support their right to do it.
I would stand next to them
and support their right to do it.
Absolutely.
And say, this is despicable.
Because
I don't agree with you.
Several times. The time that it is most important to stand up for your rights is when you're standing up for somebody else's right that you completely disagree with.
Yeah.
When they're the hardest to stand with, it's the time you need to stand.
That is the American way. I mean, that's what makes this country great.
And what I was saying,
and we're losing that.
We're
losing that.
I want to talk about this at some point, either on this show or whatever. But
save it for your show. Don't do it on our show.
No, I mean either today or next Thursday at 8 p.m. when we're live.
I'm embarrassed.
You're constantly embarrassed.
I know it.
I get a lot of crap from people that I know because to me, there's a big separation between what somebody does in their private life and what I agree that somebody should be able to do in their private life and what the government can do. So, drones is a big example. I've gotten in several arguments with people about drones and how they should be used. I completely support private industry, private individuals using drones as long as they don't infringe on somebody else's rights.
Okay. For research or
whatever.
Well, that gets us into
the federal government,
another topic later today,
who
maybe
admitted that they are using drones as surveillance mechanisms on American people.
So, government use of drones may be bad. Private use
it's completely
of drones,
different than it's
okay.
They're two different issues.
I think,
and
you're
you
right.
need to look at them separately. Much like flag burning. If I saw somebody burning a flag, I would let them know how stupid I thought they were, how terrible what they're doing is. But when the government comes and tries to stop them or tries to put them in jail, that's when I stand beside them. There's a distinction.
Well, then you would stand against this homeless man.
If that's all he was convicted of.
Well,
is there a law in Pennsylvania?
Yes. There's a law that says to show disrespect to the American flag. The trooper testified he found a large amount of trash at the scene. He was able to match the defendant's name with mail in the garbage, and hanging from a small tree was a dirty flag. This guy was actually flying a flag as a patriot.
Yeah, and this is completely different.
Which the trooper described as defaced, torn, cut. It looked pretty bad. Now, before we go any further, why don't we look at some of the flags at the Michigan state capitol that were flown during the Civil War? Some of those were torn, dirty, and looked pretty bad because they were battle worn.
And
they were still flown. Now, if those flags were flying today, those people would be arrested in Pennsylvania.
I will disagree with you on one little point. The flags in the Capitol actually look pretty nice because they're not the original flags. But the flags in the History Museum,
in the vault,
where
they're keeping it.
What's that museum?
The history.
Is it Michigan?
It's a natural
Michigan Historical Museum
and library.
They have they actually have the flags there, and
they're not shown in public because they're being deteriorated.
They used
by
to
the
be
light.
in the state.
But anyways, my point stands.
It does.
They're defaced.
It does,
all right,
for sure.
So, anyways, this guy, this cop says, they looked bad. The flag looked bad. The public defender, who was the attorney for the homeless guy, said it was torn. Oh, wait a minute. God darn it. The cop said it was torn and it was not folded properly. I mean, it was being displayed and hung, okay? All right, so what? Statute prohibits the wearing of a flag or its use in advertising. So the public attorney came out and said, well, we should be citing every used car lot, every car dealership, every President's Day sale because they use flags all the time in advertising. Shirts have the flag printed on them. All those people should be cited. This is nothing but keeping the man down. This poor guy is a homeless guy, and they wanted to get something on him.
There is actually a U.S. flag code. There's federal code that outlines how flags should not be used.
It's a code.
There's no penalty.
It's not a law. It's not a statute.
There's no penalties associated with it. But included are Never use it in advertisement. Never wear it as clothing.
You shouldn't fly it at night without a light on it.
Tablecloth. Now, this is HGTV. They're they show all these cool things that you can do with your home, and on their website they had a table with the American flag
as a tablecloth.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's crap. There was a store in Frankenmuth, Michigan, that I went to, a little shop there. They have shops all over the place. They had flags draped over tables with crap sitting on top of it. I told them, I think that's a little disrespectful. Now, of course, the clerk didn't really care.
Right, they don't care.
But I did what I could, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't call the police.
Well, we don't have a law in this state.
Yeah, now that I know of it, I'm pretty sure we don't. Back home. Here in Uzbekistan, do not touch the Uzbekistanian flag.
So the point was, the attorney was making the point that it's unconstitutional. This law is unconstitutional. This guy lost his civil liberties for over a week or so in jail. He's going to have to, pay court costs, which he can't afford. One way the man is keeping us down. I like this one. Poor guy, 20-year-old, caused a minor car accident. He, 20-year-old, he suffered a heart attack.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, and he has lost control of his vehicle, and it crashed into another car. And the local municipality gave him a ticket. They had 3 or 4 tickets. They waived a couple of them because, he had a heart attack, I guess. They downgraded the 3rd ticket, which carries a $133 fine. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
normally it was originally a $200 reckless driving. Now it's down to obstructing the passage of another vehicle,
which he did. I mean,
yeah, I guess
he hit him.
Good Lord.
He obstructed their passage, that's for sure.
So,
this is...
So in New Jersey, if you have a heart attack, whatever you do, don't hit another vehicle or cause any kind of problems.
But are you not responsible for your actions? I mean,
I guess.
Whether you're conscious or not.
Well, I had a discussion about that, about free will and mental things, but we won't get into that unless you want to do it on another show, which I'd be happy to do.
Well, that's not my point. I mean, you can't be excused of all damages because you had a heart attack.
Really?
Really?
I don't know. You have a medical emergency?
It's not the other people's fault.
I understand, but is it? I mean,
is it a
matter? Should it be a civil infraction? I mean, should it be?
Yeah, I don't think so.
A municipal, or could it be taken care of in civil court?
It's one of those weird
owners
things
of the property that was damaged files a suit against somebody.
It's one of those weird things where we all pay for the police department, right? So, I'm sure they responded. It's weird. I'm not sure why the judge or magistrate or whoever he had to see in this state
is still going forward with this.
Why they didn't just drop them all. I mean, I do agree with you on that.
Follow the money. We want a nation of lawbreakers. What fun is it to have everybody obeying the law?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Mr. Reardon, as soon as you understand that, you'll be a lot easier to deal with.
I don't think I understand that.
You don't,
Dr. Ferris.
You also didn't invent some awesome metal that can...
Not that you're aware of.
That... Will the train fall?
My team is on it.
I don't know. All right, well,
59-year-old Oregon man who likes to share his wildlife photography on Facebook and Tumblr was recently visited by the FBI, who wanted to know why he had taken pictures of a local dam, which he'd been taking pictures of for years. Apparently he's a gadabout in this town, and the local police don't really like this guy, and he was out taking pictures of flowers and stuff near where this dam is. And the FBI and the local police showed up and said, we'd like you to answer some questions. He's like, about what? Do you plan to do any damage to anyone or anything? Why do I have to talk to you? Why are you here, man? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Now, every time you take a picture of something and it happens to be near some kind of infrastructure, you're going to get visited by the FBI?
Lindsey Graham, I'd like you to email us, talk@adoddshow.com. Let us know.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
If the FBI showed up at your house and asked you about pictures you had taken, because you have nothing to hide because you're not talking to terrorists. Would you be okay with the FBI showing up at your house and questioning you about things you've done on the internet?
I think he would.
Would he?
Well,
then
he has nothing to hide.
Lindsey Graham, talk@oddshow.com. Please email me your
say,
username and passwords for your email accounts.
Just taking pictures of butterflies. How you like this?
Do you really think he would be okay with it if the FBI showed up at his house and started asking him questions about what he's been doing on the internet?
I think he would have to. If he's a man of integrity,
he's not.
He says that. What?
He's not.
You're looking at me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah, much like Lindsey Graham.
Oh. All right. I don't know.
Because I'll tell you, there's one man
He's
in
a
this
politician,
country,
right? And was his lips moving?
There's one man in this country that decides who lives and dies when it comes to drones, and that's the president. So don't bug me, Lindsey Graham, about those sort of things. And don't talk about the voice around the corner that says tyranny.
Quiet. Tyranny is just around the corner.
I forgot to say hi to our special guests today.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, Eric Holder, all the fine people at the NSA.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
I mean, originally we tried to avoid them by whispering.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Got to note that didn't happen. They said it's not working.
We can still hear you.
Damn.
Jail marshal.
With an N, not like the dam that...
Not damn.
No.
But a damn.
Yeah.
Jail marshal gropes woman, then arrests her for saying he did. How you like that?
I like it.
Real quick. Apparently a woman was called before the court for... some kind of child custody or something or other, and she was hot, and the jail marshal said, I'm going to get me some of that. I'm speculating here. He says, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're going to have to search you for drugs. Took her off into a private room and felt her all up. Had her lift up her skirt, had her lift up her top, and felt her all up. And she came out and said, Your Honor, I just was molested in there. And the judge totally ignored her. And the marshal, the jail marshal who actually did the assault, told her, Are you gonna stick to that, or are you gonna recant that? She goes, If you don't recant it, I'm gonna arrest you right now. She goes, This is what you did. I think it's inappropriate. I want a female officer. Whoop! Put your hands behind your back. And they arrested her and took her away. Took her kid away from her. I mean, come on.
There's a very simple explanation to this, and that is that the jail marshal is actually above the law. You didn't know this because it's not taught. Actually, it is now taught in elementary school.
He did lose his job, but he's fighting it and claiming that he was unjustly fired.
Ridiculous.
Go ahead. You were saying that in kids in school.
No, I'm just saying they're being indoctrinated to not worry about this stuff. But we have to wrap it up here. I think we're about out of time. So
wow. Well, maybe next week we'll talk and continue our topic of how demand's keeping us down.
Yeah, and they are. I mean,
they really are.
She is, whatever it is. But stay tuned in here, Red State Talk Radio, if that's what you're listening. We're live Thursdays, 8 p.m. at oddshow.com.
And let us know if you like the show, if you hate the show, whatever. Give us an email.
Facebook.com/@oddshow.
Yeah. Until then.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.